All right, look. I do want to talk about some guys that are playing well and their stock is rising. And one of the first guys that I'm going to bring up is AtoZ Odigizua. AtoZ, if you go back and watch my rating the draft, I did a series. I talked about these rookies. And yes, I have AtoZ, I have Steele. And you're probably like, Micah, what do you mean the stock is already up? Well, it's going up even more. The dude is just continuing to ball the hell out. AtoZ, I always thought he had the potential to take somebody's spot. I didn't know it would be because of injury. I just thought that he had a unique set of skills, right? As my guy would say in Taken. He had a unique set of skills that this Cowboys team hasn't really seen. My guy yesterday talked about maybe a Leroy Glover, right? Jay Ratliff, you know, that kind of undersized but strong, stout, plays with leverage, quick. AtoZ has he's a 5-tool player. He just has to put it all together, and he's already playing phenomenally. And he had a sack and a half and 4 pressures against the Eagles, and that doesn't even begin to show everything that he did. I'll bring up, I believe I can. Let me see if it comes up here. Yeah. I'll bring up some of his highlights from that game. His motor just goes and goes and goes. You can't take a play off with AtoZ. You can't. And how could you not get excited about this play right here when he wrapped up? Like I said, I scared one of the cheerleaders over at Texas Live with this cat, man. AtoZ Odigizua. He plays above his means. He plays above his experience, his age. Look at that quickness. I know he didn't make the sack here, but between him and Parsons, I always talk about the stunts. I love those two guys on the same side performing stunts together. Between him and Parsons, sugaring the A-gaps with number 11 or pressuring that center and guard, there's a lot of teams that are not going to be able to handle him. Now, they played a lot of interesting fronts, and they moved AtoZ out at defensive end. And I think that was to compensate for the lack of, in my opinion, depth. The lack of depth. So Dan Quinn had to get in his bag, right? Like, he had to get in his bag. And boy, did he get in his bag. I said this coming into the year. I don't really like him playing that 5 technique type of style. He's not a rush end. He's just going to have to try to beat you with pure power. But you got to do what you got to do. Right? Like, you got to do what you got to do with AtoZ. And I think he played it well enough. But inside, he's an absolute terror. And I look forward to seeing him staying on the field with Neville Gallimore. Another cat. Mr. Steele, your girl. My guy, my cuz. He bumped up, remember? Second cousin. I think he's supplanted himself as second cousin. After week 1 or week 2, I had to put him at first, sit at the big boy table, things like that. But he's my second cousin. Right now, he has a chance to become my cousin. First cuz, good to go these next 3 weeks or 2 weeks, however long Lyle's out. But let me tell you something about him. I went back and watched him intently against the Eagles because I just wanted to see how he performed. Didn't call his name much. Wrote some notes down. I like what I saw from Terence Steele. And I wrote this on Twitter as well. You can see the confidence. You can see that he trusts himself a hell of a lot more. And that comes with what, guys? That comes with experience. That comes with development. That's natural, right? But it's good to see Steele do that because he was not playing that way last year. We talked about him getting beat early, and that affected his confidence later. And he already wasn't a good player last year, but he's put in the work. He's put in the work, and he has become a better player. Now, I'm not going to the extent of him being a starter over Lyle Collins. I think that's silly because there's still a lot of things he has to, get better at. And Lyle is just so much better. Lyle Collins is a Pro Bowl right tackle. Let's slow down on that whole weird situation. But I really like what I see from Terence Steele. I like how he fires out in the run game, and he just pretty much owned Milton Williams, y'all. I'm for real. Every time I seen him match up on Milton Williams, it was a W. Every time. I talked about him trusting his eyes more. You see him kind of peak. I think this might be one of the possessions. No, this isn't. You can see him kind of understand his surroundings better. Now, he did get fooled, or I don't even want to call it fooled. He did make the wrong decision on one of the blitzes, resulted in a sack on Dak Prescott. It wasn't, he didn't get credited for the sack because it was a blitz, but he could have made a better read. Nonetheless, I love how he fires out in the run game. Sometimes he fires out too fast. He has to become under control a little bit more when he gets in space. And speaking of space, he still struggles with space to speed. I think he's better. What I mean by space to speed and space to power, I think he's better with space to power because he's setting better. He's anchoring a little bit better. But sweat got to him a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit when he was in that wide 9 technique and he had a lot of space to work with on Terence Steele and he can get that hand action moving. But if he didn't have a plan, Steele pretty much stymied him. He pretty much stymied him. So I like what I'm seeing from Terence Steele. You should like what you're seeing from Terence Steele. Again, he's a serviceable backup now. Well, so far, at least 2 games into 2020, or 2021, which, let's be real, for me, I'm not going to lie to you here, I'm shocked because I seen him play in the preseason, y'all. He was not good. He was not good. I don't think he was ready for this opportunity. And Big Duke talked about him being a better player, putting in the work. He still obviously received some help against Bosa. And this week coming up against the Panthers, there's a certain player on the Panthers that is really damn good pass rusher that they may need to also keep an eye on him. They may need to keep an eye on Steele. But if you don't have that kind of pass rusher, yesterday should give you some confidence that Steele can at least be on the island sometimes against a Ryan Kerrigan type of guy. Right? Ryan Kerrigan's done, by the way, y'all. He's done. It's official. He's pretty much a third or fourth, fifth type of defensive end. If he can give you 7 to 10 snaps of hard play, you're good. But Steele pretty much handled him as well. How crazy is that? We're talking about Steele handling people. I see you, cuz. And then Micah Parsons. I mean, I know, y'all, this might be cheating because it is Micah. But I can't speak enough about how he is playing in this league early on. You just can't. The ability on one play to be a defensive end, and then on the next play be in coverage and play well in coverage. I didn't include the play, but I'm going to talk to you about it. By the way, that's why I love him as a spy type of guy. You're not running away from Micah Parsons. But there was a play where he was a rush and he rushed the passer. It was Eagles were backed up in their own end zone. And then the very next play, Micah drops back in coverage, mirrors Zach Ertz. He covered 2 players in one play. Mirrors Zach Ertz, sees Jalen Hurts scramble, so he pursues Jalen Hurts. Then he feels or he sees Devontae Smith coming behind him, so he peels back and he covers Devontae Smith. The way he did it and how smooth he did it and the sequence of plays in the way he did it is not normal. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm going to get ahead of myself. I'd argue to find a front 7 player that versatile right now. I mean, and I know you could bring up maybe a Jamal Adams, but he's a safety. He gets compared a lot to Von Miller, but Von Miller ain't dropping back like that and doing that. Obviously, he's not the pass rusher of Von Miller. But the versatility in Micah Parsons is just so... I'll say it. It's elite. The versatility is elite. Is he an elite player yet? No. But the fact that he can do a multitude of things at a high level, my guy Vach said it greatly. He said you can't really call him a Swiss Army knife because a Swiss Army knife does a bunch of things at an adequate level. Micah does a bunch of things at a high level. It's ridiculous, man. He's ridiculous, and I don't think you need to struggle about, hey, where are we going to put Micah Parsons? What are we going to do with Micah Parsons? No, don't struggle with it. Just continue to utilize him game to game in the manner that you need to, and you will be fine. NME says Micah is what Isaiah Simmons wish he was. No cap. I mean, I don't think you're lying, for real. I mean, that's what they wanted Isaiah Simmons to be, right? Hey, he can play he can rush the passer, he can play middle linebacker, he can drop back in coverage. I haven't watched Isaiah. I'd imagine he's better this year. They're 3-0. I don't know. So I'm not going to go on that, jump that leap. But that's year 2 for Isaiah. This is year 1 for Micah. He has 1 game playing the linebacker position, the position he was drafted to do. And by the way, y'all, Dan Quinn did not slam the door shut on Micah Parsons being a linebacker full time or DE. He didn't say that, hey, he's going to stay here at defensive end. The linebacker thing is done. Nope. And I love that. Don't pigeonhole this man, and don't just put him down as a pass rusher, because this wasn't even a move he was expected to do. It only happened because of all these injuries.